Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm super excited because today I'm going to be talking about my April TBR, and I will also be participating in the Magical Readathon in April in the spring equinox. So these books that I choose will be based off the prompts for that, which I will get into in a second. But first I want to say thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy. I'm actually on my bed right now. Normally I sit in front of my bookshelf down there, but I just couldn't be bothered. So we're gonna do a cozy little TBR video on my bed. I've got my blanket, I've got some stuffed animals around me, and honestly I just really wanted to be comfy, like in a hoodie and everything. So hope you don't mind, hope you can enjoy this comfy video with me. You should definitely get comfy yourself, put on some comfortable clothes with a blanket, maybe get a fun drink or snack or something, and we can hang out together. So if you're unfamiliar with the Magical Readathon, it's created by Book Roast on YouTube, and it used to be Harry Potter themed, which I desperately wish I could participate in, but she was really cool and created her own like fantasy world to be the setting for the Magical Readathon. So she's put so much work and effort into this, and it's really incredible and just impressive. Honestly, I wish I could do this. Basically, the premise of the Magical Readathon is that we go to Aurelium Academy to study magic and all sorts of things like that, and you basically have spring and fall semesters where you take classes, but the classes you take is actually just books you read during the month. Obviously it's to have fun with your reading goals, so why not? But you get to choose a calling, which is kind of like your career that you're striving to get. Kind of like in Harry Potter, you'd want to be like an Auror or work at the ministry or something like that. With this, you have the same kind of thing, but just that goes with this world that is called Eldia, and you go to the Aurelium Academy for. So how it works is you would start in the spring equinox and you would read books based on the calling you pick, and then you have prompts based on the classes. If you successfully complete the spring equinox, you will move on to the autumn equinox, where you are kind of like getting your OWLs in Harry Potter, where you'd have to get like a distinguished in this subject or an outstanding in this subject, and that grade you want to receive or need to receive for your calling depends on how many books you can complete based off the prompts. So it's kind of complicated, so I definitely suggest watching Book Roast videos if you want like a detailed explanation of this. I definitely am not qualified to give you that, so definitely go check those out. I'll put all that stuff below if you're interested, but she has some great videos that like explain everything if I'm not doing a very good job. I did participate last summer in like the Gear Up challenge, where it's kind of like preparing you to get started with the readathon, and I did participate in the autumn equinox last year, which technically like I hadn't done the spring equinox, so I kind of just like jumped in and did your own thing. But that's what I like about this readathon, is that you can kind of go at your own pace. Like there are rules, but they're not like set in stone. Like you can tweak it to what suits you best and what suits your schedule and your lifestyle. So that's what I really like about this, because I can choose a calling with the amount of books to read that I feel like I can balance with my lifestyle. So I think in the autumn equinox I can't remember what my calling was, but I did really bad. I think I finished most of the books for the Gear Up Readathon over the summer because it was summer and I didn't have much going on. But then the autumn equinox was when school started, so I really fell behind. I didn't do too hot. I think I read 2 out of the 4 books I had aimed to read, which like still that's half, but I didn't technically complete it. So I am kind of starting from square one here, but I don't really mind because it's a fresh start and I can really like get going with things from ground zero. So the calling I have chosen for the spring equinox is a story weaver. And I'll read a little bit about this, but I also want to say that I am doing the spring equinox during my last semester of school. I'm currently in my junior year of college, and you know, it just happens to fall in April, and that's when my university wraps up with classes. So I'll have finals during all this. I'll have all my late assignments due during all this, but I also heavily prioritize reading in my life, so I don't think this will be a problem. I know I'm probably not going to finish every book I read. I like to finish most of them if I can, but I feel like I've done pretty good with the balance between reading and like my schoolwork this semester, so I feel like I'll be okay, but just don't like strictly hold me to any of this. Like, I'm kind of going to be lenient with myself, so please do the same for me as well. The calling I picked for the spring equinox is called a story weaver, and for a little bit of information on what a story weaver is, it says, we have the ability to alter memories and use hypnotic mind control to make others follow their orders. It is believed that story weavers work on matters of security concerning all of Eldia. They may work with mage hunters and illusionists on critical missions, though no official reports can confirm this. I really wish I could do this in real life. Like, truly, I'm at the spot in my life where I have some ideas about what I want to do after I graduate college and, like, my future, but, like, why can't magic exist? Why can't this stuff exist and I can just go control people's minds for a living? That'd be great. But it also says that what is known about them is that many story weavers are also fiction writers. There is a great deal of speculation about whether the events they write about in their stories are adapted versions of their missions they've been on. Be careful, as even through their writing they can influence your views, memories, and ideas. Wait, I didn't even like kind of read this when I chose story weaver. I was just like, that sounds cool and that, seems fun. But like, I am a fiction writer. Like, my major is creative writing. Oh my gosh, that's such a crazy coincidence. And yeah, it says the key traits are selfless, compassionate, accurate, and stable. I don't know about stable, but I feel like the rest of them, I would say I'm selfless and compassionate, and I try to be accurate, whatever that means in that context. Stable, we're getting there. So like I said, in the autumn equinox I will have different prompts to do, but for the spring equinox the classes I'll be taking are Inscription, Art of Illusion, Psionics and Divination, and Lore. So that is 4 books that I'll have to read this month if I want to complete the spring equinox successfully and be able to move on to the autumn equinox. And truthfully, even if I don't pass the spring equinox and I don't finish all my books, I'll still be doing the autumn equinox. I don't really care. I'm just gonna, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the good thing about this readathon, is that, like, it's for fun, so it's not like this is actual school and I'm held to it. So with all the exposition out of the way, let's just get straight into the syllabus on what classes I'm going to take, meaning what books I'm going to read. So we've got some cool prompts and I have a lot of options here in front of me. One of the rules of the Magical Readathon is that you're not supposed to read books for the readathon that you've already started reading. Like, you're just supposed to start them all during the month of April. So I will not be doing that because I'm just in a weird spot with reading right now where it's like I kind of just read when I get the chance between my job and my classes and everything. So I'm currently in the middle of 2 books, not including my audiobook I'm currently listening to. I'm not going to count that towards anything. But one of the books that I am currently reading that I won't be putting towards the readathon is Catching Fire by Susie Ann Collins. I just started rereading this after I finished Sunrise on the Reaping, so this is kind of just like a fun thing for me. It's not really a serious reread, it's just like I need to fill the void that Sunrise on the Reaping left me, so it's just for fun. I'm not counting this towards any prompts. It's just going to be kind of like a background book, and I'm hoping to finish it before the start of the month if I can. It's currently the 27th, but like, who knows? But the other book that I'm currently reading, I'm going to count towards a prompt because it's a buddy read, so it's moving a bit slower than like Catching Fire or something like that. So I'm going to count this for my Art of Illusion class, and it says the course focus is distance manipulation, and the prompt is book you already planned for this month. So that is going to be The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, because I'm currently buddy reading this with my friend Haley. We had a book weekend trip recently that was so much fun, so we started buddy reading this while we were together in person, but we're long distance friends, so I don't see her like very often at all. So we're just doing a casual buddy read of this last book in the Stolen Air duology. So it's kind of just like a slow process. We've been setting goals about where we want to meet, and I need to get to our second one, so this will probably just be something slow. It's not really a big priority since I'm dependent on another person to read this, so I don't know how progressful this will go, but I'm still counting it towards one of the prompts because I will read it this month. Okay, so that's 1 out of the 4 books that I'm going to be reading this month. Next class that I'll be taking is Inscription, and it says the course focus is called The Hook, whatever that means. And for this one, the prompt is the first sentence challenge, try 3 and pick the best. So I have 3 books that are recent additions to my physical TBR, and another note for this, I'm trying to read only books off my physical TBR because it is insane and I really need to lower it badly, and I just went book shopping, so yeah, we won't talk about it. I know I should read some older books on my TBR, but I'm gonna save that for the summer when I just have nothing but time. I'm not doing homework and schoolwork and things like that. So I'm just really choosing books for this that I'm like genuinely really pulled to right now, really interested in. Like I've been thinking about them, I've been wanting to read them, they've been on my mind. So some of the older books on my TBR I'm gonna save for when like I need to force myself to read them. I know that sounds bad, but you know what I mean. These three are recent additions, but I'm not too mad about that because I really haven't stopped thinking about them and I'm just kind of really excited to read one of them. So the first book is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I chose this because number one, I'm really intrigued by it, and number two, I read Taylor Jenkins Reid's books so fast. I read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo on a cruise I went on last year. I read it so fast, it was amazing. And then I read Malibu Rising at the start of 2024, and I read that in like 2 days, I think. So I'm really hoping this will be the same. I also just love how she writes, like her writing style and her plots, and just everything about her books I've just really enjoyed so far. They've just been really highly rated books from me. So I'm curious to see what I think of this one, especially since it's probably one of the most popular by her. And it is in a different format, like it's in an interview format. So there's like, it's like a script almost. So it's not like an actual book, you know what I mean? Like with descriptions and things like that. At least I don't think so for the majority of it. So I feel like this will be faster to read. And I don't know, I'm just so curious to see what I think. The next book is Guild by Raven Kennedy. I don't really know much about this except that the main character is like completely gold. That is it. But it's a fantasy romance series, the Play to Prisoner series. I've heard really good things about it, and I just feel like it's not talked about as much as some other like fantasy romance series that I know of. So I'm kind of just curious to see what I think. It seems like something I'd like. I also really like that the text on the pages is pretty big and like the margins are huge too. So I feel like that'll be quick to get through as well. And I hope the writing style is like good, you know, not just like cringy writing, you know, but I hope it's like enjoyable and just like fast paced, something I can really get through quickly. My goal for all of these books is to read them pretty fast, if you can't tell. But the map for this one is also really cool, which is always a plus. Last book is one that I've had my eye on for a while, and I pre-ordered it and it came a couple weeks ago, and that is Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. This is like, I think, a pirate book. I think it is a pirate book, or at least it's inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean, because I follow this author on Instagram and I would always see her reels of her like promoting it before the release date, and it looked so freaking cool. And of course this cover is just gorgeous. Can we take a second to talk about, oh, that was upside down. Take a second to talk about how freaking pretty this book is, and wait until I take off the dust jacket too. Like, hello? That is stunning. So yeah, it is about pirates. There's a freaking pirate ship on the cover. Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of my favorite movie series like ever. I grew up with those and they're like honestly so nostalgic for me, so I feel like this will be right up my alley. I think there's a romance, and I'm pretty sure this is YA, so that's always a plus, where it's a bit like, not like lighter, but you know what I mean. YA books are just always easier to speed through. I feel like there's not as much thought you gotta put into them, I don't know. So honestly, I really want to read all of those at once, so I feel like it's gonna be hard to choose which one of the three I'd be most interested in, but I'm gonna be really brutal and we're gonna read the first sentence, and whichever one I'm feeling the most called to, I'm going to read. I'm not allowing myself to like change my mind last second. I'm gonna set this TBR and I'm gonna stick with it. So let's get started. Okay, well, Nightweaver's first sentence is, I'm not fast enough. It's kind of boring. It's interesting, it makes me intrigued, but it's not what I expected it to be. Let's try Guild. I lift the gold goblet to my lips as I watch the show of naked flesh through the space between my bars. Oh, okay, that's intriguing too. Okay, Daisy Jones and the Six. Let's see. I don't know if I should count like the little biography of her, the actual first sentence. So there's either Daisy Jones was born in 1951 and grew up in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, California, or Elaine Chang, biographer, author of Daisy Jones, Wildflower. Here is what's, oh wait, that's her. It's interview format. I literally just read her name. I don't know if, okay, wait. The actual first line. I'm so dumb. Here is what is so captivating about Daisy Jones even before she was Daisy Jones. Okay, I think I just got too confused there, so I don't know if I should do this one. My brain probably can't handle it. And as intriguing as Nightweaver is, I think I'm gonna go with Guild, because the line about the naked flesh through the space between my bars, what is happening? That sounds intriguing and weird, and I want to know more. So I'm gonna choose Guild for the inscription prompt. Hopefully I love this. I really hope I do. I'm so curious now to see what's going on. But yeah, this is the second book of the readathon. And honestly, I am kind of sad that I won't be reading either of these this month, but I'll probably pick them up as soon as I'm done with school anyways, so it doesn't matter. And the next course I'll be taking is Lore, and it says the course focus is the Song of Ages. And so the reading prompt is musical term and title. So again, I have a couple options for this one. All of them have the same musical term in the title because I was looking on my bookshelves. And there were a couple others that had like other musical terms, but it was like a third book in a series, so I couldn't read that one. But all three of these have song in the title. That's pretty basic. But I'm equally as intrigued and excited for all of them. So the first one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This was a gift from my friend Haley, who I mentioned earlier. When we went book shopping, we picked books for each other, and she chose this for me because she read it and loved it, and she knows and I know that I'll read it and love it. I love the Iliad so much, so I feel like this will be amazing, and I feel like everyone on the planet has read it but me. So I'm curious to see what I'll think. I know I'll probably enjoy it, but like I want to know what happens. I mean, I kind of know what happens. Like if it's based off the Iliad, I know what happens. But I also just find Achilles such a compelling character. Like every time he's mentioned, I'm just fascinated by him. So I'm really, really, really leaning towards this one, but we'll see. Next one is Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello. I picked this up randomly last month because I bought like the whole series actually. But I've seen like nothing about this series at all. No one talks about it, so I'm kind of just curious to see what I think because it seems like a fantasy that is up my alley. It takes place in a place called the Thief Kingdom. The main character, Larkyra, is the youngest of something called the Musai because her voice has the power to slay monsters. I'm like, that sounds so cool. That sounds like a fantasy I would love, but I also don't know if I'm ready to commit to another fantasy series because I'll be reading Guild now, and these are two first books in a fantasy series, so I don't really know if I want to commit to that as well. Last one is A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Lang. This I pre-ordered and got in October when it came out, and it's a beautiful like special edition too, and this is one of my auto-buy authors, but I just have not gotten to it. So I feel like I should, but I also just don't really know if this is something I'm in the mood for right now. Like the story I know I'll enjoy. It's about like a spy, and she's very beautiful, but she's disguised like as a spy to infiltrate, I think like either the military or just the government. I'm not really too sure. But it's kind of like a historical fantasy I'd describe it as. And this is her first adult book, so I'm so curious to see how it's different from her YA books. But I also just don't really know if like I want a serious thing right now. Like, yes, I know Song of Achilles is serious and tragic, but I don't know, this just seems a bit different to me. I've taken a couple minutes to like really think about it and think about like the rest of the stuff I will have to commit to this month, and I think I'm going to go with The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, mainly because I'm already familiar with the story of the Iliad and I'm really like in the mood for that right now, I'd say, but also because Haley did buy this for me and I'm just really eager to tell her my thoughts on this. She's already read the book I've got for her, so I kind of want to reciprocate that and tell her what I think. So I feel like I'll just really love this, and I know what happens, obviously, but I don't know, I'm just really excited to see what I think. And this does break up a bit of the fantasy since it is more like a historical fiction, so that's always good too. Last class I'll be taking for the spring equinox is Psionics and Divination, and it says the course focus is psychokinesis, with the reading prompt of Book with Witches or the Occult. And I was looking at my shelves, and there are probably some other books that have like witches or something in it, but the only one that like really stood out to me that I could think of is one I've had on my TBR for such a long time, and I've always been like, oh yeah, I'll save it for the fall. There's witches, it'll be spooky. but I have never read it in the fall or like at all. So we're gonna change that. And I think I'm probably gonna go the audiobook route for this one because I do need audiobooks to listen to while I'm driving to school, while I'm commuting in general, if I don't want to listen to music or anything. So this will probably be audiobook, but like I won't say no to reading it physically. I would like to read it physically, like I would love to just straight out do that, but with the other books I have, I want to read those physically more, and I need to have at least one audiobook. So we're gonna go with Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I love the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I still haven't read the last book, but it's such a good series, like so nostalgic and special to me. But I've heard such good things about this one as well. I've just never picked it up, and I've had this hardcover since like it came out, and now the rest of the series is out. Now there's a companion series coming out or something, and I still haven't gotten to it. But I think I'll really like this. It's intriguing because the main character has a twin sister, and they're both witches who secretly live among humans, but her sister is murdered. Crazy. She meets Wrath, who is one of the wicked, who are princes of hell. Like, that sounds really cool. So I feel like this is witches in like a different way, like not the stereotypical like coven thing you would see in most other things, but I'm really curious for this. Hopefully it lives up to my expectations, and hopefully if I enjoy it I can read the next 2 books in the series. This seems promising. Okay, so we have our fantasy heavy April TBR. Our books might seem like nothing to some people. Like, I know there's people who read like 15 in a month, but I also have a lot of other commitments in my life. So we're going a bit easy this month. I'm really hopeful I can get to all of these, but I feel ambitious. I want to pass all my classes in Magical Readathon and outside in my actual education. I want to pass all my classes. So I'm really excited to read all of these. I will definitely try and do some reading vlogs. It might just be one big long vlog because honestly I don't know if I have the mental capacity to do weekly vlogs. I would love to if it wasn't like finals. With autumn equinox, it happens at the beginning of the semester, so I'm still kind of getting my bearings. Like, I'm not really too stressed yet. But with April, I just know it's going to be crazy. So hopefully I can get through all of these, and I will definitely update you with all my thoughts with reviews and everything, spoiler free of course. And as the weather gets nice, I can read outside, and that's another thing I want to talk about, which I'll probably talk more about in my vlogs, but there's some like special add-ons, special challenges you can do for this readathon, and I'm not really pushing myself too hard like I said before, but there is one where you can earn, I think it's like a outdoor license or something like that, and you either have to read a book with water on the cover or like read next to a body of water as well as watch an animal documentary, and I'm like, that's a doable. There was one for dragons. It's like read a book with dragons in it or something like that, or like read 2 books with dragons in it, and I'm like, okay, if I had the time and emotional bandwidth, I would, but I do not. So maybe later, but I thought the like animal license one was doable because the weather will be nice. I could go read in the park next to a creek or something like that, and it'll be really fun and atmospheric, and then I'll watch a fun nature documentary, preferably about frogs, because if you don't know, I love frogs. Lots of fun things planned for April. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and keep your eyes out for new videos soon, especially a Magical Readathon vlog. I'm hoping that will turn out great and coherent if possible. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in my next video.